may resume in September.
Thank you. The item is open to the public. Seeing none coming, the item is closed. I have a couple of questions,
Yes.
Ms. Annabelle. I did not, so do our members, do we know of this, are they the same names or?
Well, now
Thank you.
So what we currently have is the chairman currently has in appointment category Blanca Cobo as the resident, Ashaki Bronson Marcellus as the business owner. District 1 currently has Michael McDermott as the resident, Brenda Alfaro as the business owner. District 2 had Marisol Medina as a resident, Naomi Bloomer as the business owner. District 3 had Kenneth Each as the resident. There was a vacant spot as the business owner. District 4 had Edwige Clark as a resident and a vacant spot as the business owner, and there were 2 at-large that were vacant. Remembering at the last board meeting, we now have 7 members, which means each member of the board gets 1 appointee, and then there are 2 at-large members that the entire board will vote on. So District 1 has already provided their name, District 2 and District 4. So District 1's selection was Michael McDermott, District 2 was Naomi Bloomer, and District 4 was Edwige Clark.
District,
4,
Yeah.
yes.
So who are the people left?
The
No, you and I
chairman
know.
and District 3 still need to, I don't know if District 3 wishes to keep Kenneth Each, and then the chairman, you have 2, Blanca Cobo and Ashaki Bronson Marcellus.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought, because I thought I had, what are you doing? Do you know?
And so we also get to appoint 2 at large.
Right,
Oh,
so
okay,
you
we
need
do
to,
get
you need to
mine
choose
too?
your one,
You
and
pick
then
one.
we have, the board gets 2 at large. So there will
Okay,
be 7 in
do
total.
I get 2 or I get 1?
Get
Get one.
You get
okay.
one
Chairman-
as a chairman, and then the board gets 2 at
Oh,
large.
okay, I see.
Chairman, before you proceed, I just wanted
Yes.
to state for the record that as of
Yes.
5:49 PM, Vice Chair Estimate Irvin is present.
Okay, thank you. Duly noted. Going back to the discussion, so the one, okay, so I'm ready to, appoint, but just, I want to know what's your appointment, so,
I'm not ready to
You're
appoint
not
today,
ready to
but
appoint.
I'm ready to vote on everybody's appointment.
okay, well, one for
we
sure
need
is
to-
Ms. Cobo.
Okay.
You do not need to vote on each individual board member's own appointment. They have that right to appoint one person. What you need to vote on,
Is in
if
the
you
process.
if you decide to do that today, would be the 2 at-large members.
Yeah, we're just trying to, well, let's just I think the way we were going, that's probably make more sense where we.
So do we
clarity for us.
want,
Yeah, let's just vote.
well, I know Blanca Cobo is one that
Yes.
regularly attends, maybe that could be an
Yes.
at-large?
Well, no, that was the chairman's vote for his.
Well, that's what we trying to figure out. I think this conversation now, it's between us, up here. Yes, so.
So that'll free
strategically-
you
Okay,
open for
that-
another
Okay,
appointment?
so she could be, that, I think the
Blanca Cobo
consensus
could be
our,
at-large,
At large?
yeah.
yeah.
That remains that, so would Ashaki Bronson Marcellus remain
Not
as
n-
your, not yet?
Not
Okay.
yet. I'm waiting
Okay.
to see with,
Okay.
with the vice mayor. Dr. Kenneth, if you don't, is that what you need?
Then
Can
you
you
can
do?
take what
Yes,
you want. That's fine.
yes. Okay, then I'll do, Kenneth and
Each.
Blanco. With that qualification, both of them being residents, are we still okay, or?
Oh, they're.
I would
they're both
need
to be at
your
large?
appointee as the chair, and then the board's 2 at large.
No,
So, right,
we
I
know.
think his is Kenneth Each for his
Yes.
appointee and Blanco for at-large.
Well, the at-large, I won't be part of it. I think you made the at-large, but so.
No, everybody,
everybody
don't,
makes
a
don't
motion.
even we have to
Oh,
vote
I
on
see.
everyone is at-large.
I, makes sense. So
Yeah.
I'll do Blanca and Kenneth.
No, you'll do Kenneth
And then-
each,
and
and then
Blanca.
Blanco
Blanca.
will be at, well, we'll.
Okay,
vote
we'll
for
do-
it to be
that's
at
what-
large.
Just to clarify, Mr. Chairman, so
Yes.
you're going to have Blanca Cobo as your appointee, and then you're making a motion.
I'll
No,
make,
Why don't we
issue-
just go one by one?
One, that's what
And
I was
even
trying
so,
to.
though some of us have stated it, let us state, let's get super organized,
Yes,
otherwise
and-
we're
yes,
just in
we'll be
20
able to-
Okay.
So, okay, I got it. Okay, let's, don't worry, Mr. Attorney, we'll start. Councilmember Timothy. Yeah, that's what, we'll just do it and then we'll be clear. Hmm? No problem. I don't, but I think it's only the 7 that would be our issue.
Okay.
That's why we trying to
Okay.
figure it out. It's a strategic thing, what we trying to figure out. So D1,
District 1, for my general appointee, I'd like to appoint Michael McDermott.
Michael, yay! I vote for Mike McDermott. Okay, 2?
District 2, my appointee would be Naomi Blemire.
Okay. Okay. We got D3, not yet. D4?
Edwidge Clark. Mr. Clark.
Clark, okay. And then mayor would be, what did I say I would be?
You was gonna say Kenny, but
Kenny, okay. So Kenneth,
unless they want, you want Kenneth and Blanco to be
Kenneth.
here at large. But-
Mr. Chairman, can we then vote on that slate
That's
and
what
then
I'm
go
trying to
to
do.
the
Well, he said he
alternate?
doesn't need to vote.
You don't
Yeah,
need
but
to
we-
vote
we-
on the
okay.
individual.
I withdraw my
appointee.
statement.
No, you correct.
I'm
no.
just trying to move this
Scott,
along.
I know, but I'm chairing the meeting, so we voting. Okay, sir? Okay, so we'll be all right. We voting. So are we, you got
I'm
your,
good. with
you good?
whatever. Yeah,
So-
I'll do my appointment.
And then
next
the
time
at-large
around.
will be Blanca
But-
Cobo.
Okay,
so
so let me
Cassandra
just
nominate.
clarify, Mr. Chair, because you're saying the vote, the attorney's saying that we don't have, I'm so sorry. Yes, it is.
The
So
vote
you're-
would be
you're
for
saying
the,
to-
the vote would be on the
before-
at-large
at-large.
members.
Okay, so then if I have after this meeting, if I have an appointee, I can just call you guys up, or it still has to be done publicly in our next meeting, that my
I
appointee?
think you can just call up the executive director and tell us who your
I think-
appointee is.
I think Madam Secretary has a different is there
The
a different
process?
process for that?
Oh. Is there a
It's never been
So
how we
then-
did it, but I mean, if you all, which,
What is the current
Okay,
process,
that's
Madam
the
Okay.
current
Secretary?
process would be
Going
to
on, I
submit
think.
the names. We have to make sure that they have the applications on file.
Right.
So,
And the reason why this works is because these are already
Right.
members of the committee. If we're choosing one that's not on the committee, there needs to be the application.
applications expire after a year, so,
Mhm.
I think most of those people probably have it within a year, though.
Okay.
Okay, but just to clarify, we have recess authority. So if Madam Vice Chair would like to tell us who her appointee is next week, we, with the authority, can then go ahead, get the application, and we will ratify the appointee at the
Okay.
next meeting in September.
Okay.
I'm also trying to move this along
Yes.
so we can have a meeting in September of the advisory committee.
We are having a discussion on the application, seriously?
No, no, no.
Oh, okay. So we good. So Michael McDermott, Ms. Naomi Blemire, Edwidge Clark, Clint Each, and Ms. Blanca Cobo at large.
Well,
Motion.
so.
So
can-
Chairman, I'm sorry, can
I
Let's
second
just
the
move on.
nomination of Blanca Cobo as the at-large, as one of our at-large nominees.
Okay.
Vote.
So, wait, so now it's gonna be, so with the other, appointees, when do we make those appointments?
You're making them now.
You just made them.
That's what I just thought.
We don't
Okay,
have
so-
to vote on
Vote on them,
Right,
got
right.
it.
You
Can
don't
I
need
get
to
a
vote.
second on Mr. Councilman
You
Galvin?
moved it, he
You move
I
it,
seconded
second
did,
it.
perfect, okay. So now we could vote and call it a day. Thank you.
All right, I have a motion made by Chairman Desilme to appoint Blanca Cobo to the CRA Advisory Committee in an at-large position. The motion was seconded by Board Member Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Do you have an appointment for the second at-large position tonight?
Who,
There's
me?
two.
I-
There's two.
Does anybody have one?
Yeah,
anybody wanna
I
make
could do a
a
Shaki.
Well, I was gonna ask a question. Do we know from the list that you provided, who is someone that like normally attends? We don't wanna reappoint,
Yes.
that
Mr.
app-
Shaki, does she come, Marcellus, as the business?
Per the notes that I have, she has missed 2 meetings of the 3.
2 of the 3, any excuse or not excuse?
I don't know at this time if they were excused. They would have been communicated to the chair of that committee.
Okay, we'll appoint and then, yeah, next time we'll ratify if, and I'll have a conversation with her, because if she, and, you know, that she has to be at all the, I thought she was coming to the meeting.
Okay, so just to clarify, Mr. Chairman, so your appointee is Kenneth Each?
Yes,
Okay, and so we're leaving the other at-large appointee until the next,
we just did that, right?
You have 2, we did 1, and so now you could appoint,
A Shaki,
We
and then
appointed-
you'll be, you'll
no,
be the
Shaki's
only
not
one.
appointed.
I know,
IT.
but there's the other
Yeah,
at large.
Right, there's at large in District 3.
No.
There's District 3 is still open,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah.
other
at
at-large is still open.
That's what I was
And
saying.
at-large is for all of us,
Yeah,
not
all
any
of us.
one
Anybody.
district.
Correct. If
Correct.
someone would like to make a motion tonight,
That's
we
what I
can make
did.
that
I'm
appointed.
like, I'm lost now.
We-
So you
did it
make
for
your motion,
one.
But you asked about her attendance, and you said you're gonna talk to her.
No, I made the motion. I said
Oh,
we'll
I didn't
ratify
understand
if,
the
I'm
motion.
sorry.
Okay,
I'm sorry. No, I'm saying if there's an issue between now and then,
understood.
if she doesn't want to do it, or, you know, whatever the case is, or there's an excuse,
Okay,
we'll ratify.
Okay,
Just to
so we
move on
have
the
a
process.
motion.
okay.
Second,
Akashi.
Chairman.
Ashaki.
Yes, yes.
So,
No, I said you made the
Oh, okay.
motion.
Yes.
all right. Can you repeat who moved? I was dealing with an issue with the sound.
Sure, no problem. I appoint
And
Ashaki
then the second?
Marcellus,
Okay.
to the at-large, but the second at-large.
Thank you. I have a motion made by Chairman Desilme to appoint Ashaki Brunson Marcellus to the second at-large position on the CRA Advisory Committee. The motion was seconded by Board Member Charles. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Okay, just so I can clarify, so if there's an absence, what's our policy now? If they're meeting, if they're absent from the advisory? Is there a policy for unexcused absence?
Yes, I'd have to go back and look at
Yeah,
the
we talked
resolution
about
that was
some-
adopted. I
Right.
think, what is it, 3 in a row?
Yeah.
3 consecutive unexcused absences. The issue we have worked on, encountered in the past was that there would be 3 consecutive absences, but they would be
All
excused.
excused.
And so it still meant that there was no quorum, that still meant there was no meeting.
Okay, so when, who excuses it? Is it the chair or,
Yes.
because, yeah, I used to be on the board, and I remember, so it has to be excused by the chair.
Mike
Right?
is in the back. Mike,
Yeah.
you're not saying anything.
Well, that's okay. We can do this, if we can't do
Okay.
this by ourselves.
We're messing with him.
No, good.
Okay,
We good? Okay. Thank you. Any more questions?
no.
Okay. All right. Item 3, resolution approving the lease between North Miami CRA and the City of North Miami for Liberty Garden Park.
Agenda item 3, a resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the lease of certain real property known as Liberty Gardens Park from the City of North Miami, authorizing the executive director and North Miami CRA attorney to negotiate and finalize a lease agreement between the North Miami CRA and the City of North Miami for Liberty Gardens Park, authorizing the executive director to execute the lease agreement, authorizing the executive director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the lease agreement, and providing an effective date. Agenda item 3.
Thank you. Item 3 is open to the public. Seeing none coming, item 3 is closed.
Move approval.
Wait, I have a couple of
She
questions,
didn't
and
give
yeah.
us the CRA She didn't describe.
Yes, I have a
Oh,
couple
okay.
questions.
So Liberty Gardens Park is owned by the City of North Miami and is located at 715 Northeast 125th Street, North Miami, Florida 33161. Although the park is situated on an increasingly active business corridor, it is currently underutilized by the community. Staff seeks approval from the NMCRA Board to lease the property from the city for the purposes of activating the park with uses amenable for community engagement and economic development. Staff recommends approval.
Wait, okay. Let me ask you a dumb question. And I did close public hearing, so this is council discussion. I don't know much about this item, or maybe I missed something. Please enlighten me.
So Liberty Gardens Park is right beside the CRA office. It's the one with the mural.
little thing with the little
Yeah,
wall.
it's very narrow, and it is being sought to be activated into a more engaging space for the community, possibly do furniture, maybe have some food, that kind of thing that can be engaged at evening times, maybe by young professional crowds, something of that nature.
If I may,
Okay.
this is the item that I wanted to bring before the board. As you guys know, right now, Liberty Gardens is becoming a safety hazard. There's homeless
I
people.
did not know.
Oh.
This is why this is taking me back a little bit. I don't, and it has nothing to do with the item itself. It's the process of communication. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. So I'm like, did we talk about this during briefing? And we didn't meet last week?
We didn't meet this week.
we met last week and we talked about this, the agenda, you sure? I don't.
If I may just finish to talk about what the idea was around Liberty Gardens Park. As you all are aware, previously the CRA has did the mural, you guys did the landscaping plan. It was a project that the CRA put a lot of money into, and right now it's sitting as a dormant, homeless park with needles on the floor, with homeless people sleeping there. We've had to put police watch in that area because
This is all new to me.
and so the idea was to activate the space, kind of like what I think we recently passed like a concessionary plan with the city where if we wanted to create like a business corridor, maybe allow a food vendor to be there, just kind of like activate the space and make it more user-friendly, is what the idea around this.
I know for one thing, if I had heard this in briefing, my opposition to it would be, and I'm trying to remember real. That's why I have multi people in briefings with me, because we human beings, we may not remember things. But if this was explained to me, everybody, the past 10 years I've been on the city council, 9 years, and Scott being the senior here, I have to look over. I'm totally against giving city property, even, I probably
we're not
voted-
giving it to anyone.
No, I know.
This is
in
kinda
terms
like
of
what-
leasing, whatever, because we've done that.
Well, where the city gave the CRA the homes, like that, this is just a conferring of the land.
No,
so that
I know.
the CRA can utilize it. Because remember, we did it for the properties in District 4? When
Yes.
we conveyed the land over to the CRA?
Is
was
this,
just,
no, this is, if that's the case, then I'm okay with it, but I was under the impression, and that's why I didn't know about this.
yeah, no, it's not
briefing
going to anyone.
was,
This is the
are we-
CRA.
What,
With the CRA trying to sell it to someone?
No. We are leasing it from the city so that we can
Oh.
So
activate it.
the CRA can activate
We are
it,
keeping
not the
it.
city.
Nobody else is gonna
Oh,
get it. We are
okay.
going to be the tenant. The city of North Miami will
Okay.
be our landlord, and we will
Yeah.
activate the space so that it can be more engaging for the community.
Yeah.
if I'm,
Yeah, no one's giving
No,
over
if I-
land.
I
Yeah.
thought we had a company.
No,
that-
no,
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 no, no, no, no, no, no, no, no, no, no, no.
so I'm kind of in the same boat with Mr. Chairman, because I didn't know much about it. But now my question would be that what is the end goal? So when you acquire that property, what is that the CRA is going to do in it?
Yes.
If I may, we're going to bring back an item to the board, but probably in September, showing what the activation would look like. This is just the first step to engage the step, but the second step would be, hey, because it's gonna have a dollar amount to it. It may need to be put in the budget, but the first step is to get the line item over to the CRA, and then from there we'll, look at different business
Vice
activation.
Mayor, let's take Vice Mayor,
Right.
I'm sorry, Vice Chairman.
So, Board Member Timothy, love the idea. I know exactly what you're talking about. I do see homeless going over there.
Where?
You just peek.
Over there?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
bad.
I do. In the back, laying
So you
there.
can't stop that. I mean, how are we gonna stop? The CRA can't
But
stop.
my question is, you just piqued my attention. So what is the lease amount gonna be? I guess you're gonna negotiate what the lease amount is gonna be? I hope
We're
it's
gonna negotiate it, but it's not going to be. It's gonna be a nominal fee.
$1.
Yeah.
That's,
The
I hope
city
so.
actually
That's
wants-
number
the
one.
city
Okay,
actually
number
wants the
two,
dollar.
right. Number two, what do you envision? I mean, I know you said you're gonna bring it back in September, but what is the dollar amount that's gonna be associated with it?
That's why it
You
needs to be
know.
brought back, because we need to have
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
put
it's gonna
together
be-
with dollar
yeah,
amounts to be able to put before
exactly.
the board.
Yeah, so isn't this putting the cart before the horse? Because if we, you understand,
If we
I
gotta have the
understand.
information, what if it's $1 million?
Right.
Then what do we do?
I don't think
Okay,
it's a
no.
million
So the
dollar,
project
but,
cost
know.
the project cost right now for what the build out would be, I would show you guys on Instagram, but let me just pull it up so you guys can see. But it's called, this is the concept, if I could just show it to you. It's, if you look up Dogs and Brews on Instagram official. So this is what they did to and let me, I don't know if they can
We'd have
zoom
to
in.
share it
But
with
this is what they did to an alleyway. Like they
Yeah, I've
activated
seen
the
them.
space and oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Her
It's-
phone is now public record.
Right,
So everybody,
it is. So it-
Your phone is public
yeah.
record.
And so that
I'm making a
project
hot dog.
cost them about 25,000 to do that space. But like I said, we would.
I think we all for that, especially
This is
now,
nice. I see.
find that it's not a business.
No, it's not a-
It's
no, no, no.
money.
It would actually be a business generating idea for the CRA, yeah.
I think my biggest thing is probably, I'm sorry, my mic is not on. I'm sorry, thank you. I think it's more the communication process in terms of the idea. It's a lovely idea, and we need those innovative ideas from members, but we got to figure out a way from, and this is just out there, from the city and from the CRA, in terms of when we communicating with board members. I honestly, if I had heard that, I would have remembered that item. And I'm not saying it never was mentioned to me or brought to me during briefing, but and even before I have these meetings, I try to sit with my chief of staff, Mitzi, trying to go over some of the items just to ensure. Again, it's a lovely concept, because I've seen them around from different communities and stuff, but.
And well,
I
maybe
don't
what
know
we
if
can
the
do
board
is
should- Go ahead, that's right.
delay it until September and then bring it back, or,
Go ahead, Councilman.
Now, I was just going to say, in a general sense, I think we would have been better off right now with a staff presentation. It's great to
absolutely.
talk to each one of us individually, but for members of the public, there aren't any here tonight, but for members of the public who might go, what the heck are they
Yeah, what
talking
are you
about?
talking about?
If staff had led with a 2-minute, 3-minute presentation with some photos, then I think a lot of this would be fixed.
The proposal hasn't been finalized for the actual activation.
It's too early
so-
to
okay.
come here, I think. I think in the future, and this is for the city and the CRA, and I've heard Councilman Gavin talked about this before. If the item is not thoroughly, not
It's not
ready,
don't
leave
yeah.
it.
'Cause I didn't even remember, honest to God, I did not remember this in briefing. And I'm not saying that it wasn't mentioned to me, but normally I would remember these things. And it's a lovely idea, very innovative. Congrats, Councilwoman.
but yeah, we can bring it back in September, like when the
So
item
would
is
you be
complete
ready,
with the
okay,
budget number.
M-
No,
Mrs.
I have another question. Now, I see, looking at the concept, and then I'm hearing food, I see some like bar stool, and like people can sit down and have a drink. And I know the CRA doesn't do this kind of business. So now, what is behind the whole idea? How are we gonna operate this? Because
The CRA wouldn't be operating it itself. It would
So who would do it?
We'd have to engage somebody else to do.
Okay, then there we go. So we are backing into some, so there is the idea of some business leasing our land to do that.
No.
Okay, I'm
There'll be an
I guess we'll
operator,
wait.
right, so,
So we continue this
Yeah,
till
let's
September,
continue.
so we have the
Yeah.
chance to
Yeah.
put together an
Yeah.
Just
actual.
like the
if you're,
Sorry.
yeah. if
Yeah, I'm
you're
okay
good
with
that,
it,
good.
yeah, because we can
September?
actually bring the item back, but so that you guys can be, we can't talk about it until we're here, but the idea is to have an operator come in, maybe we put out we're kind of like with the library, when we have a cafe outside the library, where we put out the RFP, people can say, hey, this is what I have in mind for this space, and so forth, but this is going to be, it's not something that's
But-
gonna happen overnight, but yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I think would you
So
be
we would
ready,
take-
Madam Executive Director, by September to have everything ready to, so we'll just
Yeah,
defer this
okay.
item?
To September.
Would that, is, Mr.
That
Attorney,
requires a motion?
is that the right thing? Just defer this item and then it'll come back complete?
Yes, you can defer this item to the next
Instead-
meeting,
okay.
That's fine.
if that's what
So
you
do you wanna
decide to
move it?
do.
Yeah, that's fine.
Go ahead.
So that
Move
we,
it.
when it comes back, it'll be the dollar amount and the full
Yeah, just
presentation.
move
So
it.
that
I'll
you guys-
second it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Who's moving it?
I moved it.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. All right. I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to approve Agenda Item 3. The motion failed for lack of second. I have a motion made by Board Member Timothy to defer the Agenda Item 3 to the next meeting. The motion was seconded by Vice Chairwoman Estimate Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No, I'm not opposing. I have a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Right, so I have a question the way it was just mentioned, because there was never a motion to approve it.
Yes, there
So-
was.
There was?
Gavin did.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah, that was
did?
a motion, yeah,
I
yeah.
apologize.
Oh, yeah, at the beginning.
I didn't hear, so do you want to withhold?
I withdraw my
He did,
motion.
he
I
did that.
think it was very clear, we're gonna continue.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, because I was like,
Okay,
okay, yeah, thank you, I'm sorry,
awesome.
thank you, Madam Secretary.
Thank you,
I didn't
sir.
hear the motion, so I was like, why was it, okay, got it.
I was just moving because I didn't realize it was gonna be a point of discussion, so I
Okay.
have
No, no, no.
withdrawn that
Okay.
motion.
Totally got it. Thank you. Last item before we go into reports, the discussion between the CRA refunds and the city. Tiff?
This is an item for discussion.
Presentation.
I do believe that the city has requested to make a presentation tonight.
Is there any background on, so that whoever's watching will know what this discussion would be about?
So the discussion item is for us to discuss the CRA refund to the city regarding our TIF.
Got it. Okay.
We just received our numbers today from the county. Today.
Say it loud so that we.
Today,
so people
we
would know.
received our numbers today from the county regarding our, the city's portion and what our refund to the city would look like under the normal formula. I do believe that there is a request to change that formula.
Okay.
And there's a presentation tonight.
Can we,
There's a presentation? Do we have it?
quick, the presentation?
Oh, this is hers.
Yeah. You lose our attention in 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Rasha Camo for the City of North Miami. Dunya, can you set me up, please, quickly? I didn't realize it was gonna be that way. I thought it was gonna be both as a refresher. So again, just to bring up, at this time, you are in the process of renegotiating your redevelopment plan, updating your redevelopment plan, and renegotiating your interlocal agreement with Miami-Dade County. So I am here on behalf of the city to make sure that the city's case is heard and remembered in the back of your mind as you're negotiating with the county for their portions. So it's quick. I only have a few slides.
Hold on.
Do we have a copy?
Madam, yeah, is there a copy that we could have? That's one of the requests of the presentation. And just for the public who's watching, who probably did not understand what is going on, we are currently the interlocal agreement between the city and the county, and the CRA is now up for renewal. So there's that process where we are dealing with the county in terms of the TIF refund that we will be getting, requesting from the county, which has not been fair for the past few years. So this now give us an opportunity to go back to the county and do what we do. And I must say, the county commissioner for this district has been a real champion in terms of helping us out with our negotiation with the county as well as the county mayor. So we are now at the point where it's the refund that we're trying to figure out where does the city goes. So it will look tricky the way Rasha is presenting it, because somebody's watching probably say, well, isn't these folks are also the city council? Yes, we are the city council, but at this point, we are in our capacity as the CRA board member. So it's a little bit tricky. It's not a separate board. So this is to us as well. Go ahead, Madam, come on.
Well said.
Okay,
Well said, yes.
thank you, thank you. And again, the CRA was created in 2005, and with the understanding that it covered 60% of the city. At that time, the city committed to providing 95% of the increment to fund the CRA, and Miami-Dade County opted to not provide the funding for that. Up until 2016, when we went to get our extension, and again, we updated the redevelopment plan, the county also came up with a new scenario to add, as of 2016, a refund to the city of 45% of the increment east of Biscayne Boulevard, which is what we've been receiving since 2016. So I just want everybody to see. And also, I just wanted to note, the orange part is the CRA. The white parts of the city are the parts that the city is getting in terms of increment and tax revenue. Above where FIU and Solomia is, you'll see I wrote Oleta State Park. That white part is the state park, which is $0 in tax revenues because it's state property. So I just want to bring that up. The second I wanted to show you is from 2005, and that's a good, how can I say this? That's a good argument to have with Miami-Dade County. So from since 2005 to 2023, Miami-Dade County generated in TIF in the CRA $40,156,000. However, their contribution to the CRA was $9.5 million. They kept $30.5 million. That's how much money you've given them back every year. On the other side, on the city side, the city has generated $63.9 million. However, up until the 2016 new formula, the city has only gotten back $4.7 million. So when you're looking at the property values, when all this development is happening on a property that was an empty lot, or where Solemia's was a landfill, those increments, okay, go straight to the CRA. None of it really comes to the city. So up until now, like Ms. Annabelle Emanuel said, we did get our tax numbers by July 1st. However, the whole formula with Solemia is so complicated that Miami-Dade County finally released the number to us this afternoon, and I was able to input it. So now, for fiscal year 23-24, we're expected to cut a check to the CRA for $12.1 million. Our East Side contribution for the 4.45% revenue is $1.3 million. That's how much the city's going to be getting back. All right? And again, I had shown you that at the retreat.
Hold on, you said the CRA, if you could go back to that slide, you said the east side was 1.3?
That's 45%. Yeah.
So the 45% is, it's $1.3 million is what the CRA is expected to get back next year?
For
Or the-
23-24 to give to the city.
Did that
Yes.
gives to the city?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Again, just to show you the percentage of like the increment.
What would the county, the contribution, well, not contribution,
For-
what would their thing taking from us be?
Until you renegotiate your contract, they're giving you $1 million and they keep the rest.
Okay, so the rest is for them,
And,
whatever the rest. Oh, God.
You know, estimate, like, I think, Annabelle, you gave them 5.9 million this year. So
Correct.
let's just say you'll be giving them back like about 7 million.
With the current formula that's in
Yes, with the current formula. So again, I just wanted to show you over the number of years, as values are going, and when you hear developers saying, this is how much money we're putting in your property taxes, not really. The expenses are going up, the revenue, so the red part is the expense, and the pale part is the revenues.
Yeah, see that.
On the general fund, we're always trying to compete to meet that need, and that's the function of not having a stable recurring revenue to cover our general fund. And even though we are working on efficiencies, like I had mentioned at the retreat, we're going to be applying for several grants, and we're looking at ways to mitigate, to get corporate sponsorships to cover some of our events. It's still, the recurring revenue does not match what our expenses are. And that's a function of a lot of things. One of them is just inflation. And also, again, the expenses that we will incur with all this development happening, new police, code to service these new development, will not be paid for by the North Miami CRA. They will be paid for by the city because that's what the state statute dictates.
So where did the city get the money? Where does the state statute, in their mind, well, Mr. Attorney, this might be a legal question. So what statute guide us in terms of the return and what the money could be used for? I think recently they just say events we got to be careful for. So in their mind, the legislature, that when they were creating this, what if you eliminate, what the goal of the CRA is, the real intent of it? So then you got to secure and do that. What do you think their, intentions? Since the city can't really, the CRA can't really, pay for those things.
The legislature?
Yeah. Well, we know they don't like CRAs, but I'm
Well,
just saying.
I really have, no opinion as to what the legislature may do. We've just approved and the city's approved amended redevelopment plan for your CRA, so we know what we want to do. And everything we want to do is in accordance with the state statute. So all we're really trying to do at this point is understand who's going to fund it and how much each of the county and the city are going to put towards that plan. So that's why the city manager's here tonight. That's why we had our special meeting a couple weeks ago. And so that's
Yes,
why we're trying to understand
Let
And
me-
under the statute, the statute's clear as to how much goes towards the CRA, but as we've done in the past, we're going to come up with a formula and an agreement, an interlocal cooperation agreement between the city, the CRA, and the county that's going to say what everybody gives. And I think what's being shown to you tonight by your city manager is there's this sort of lopsided,
Yeah.
refunding that's going on where the county's basically grabbing, 3/4 of the TIF, and the city is really the funding source for our
Yeah,
CRA
we've
right
been
now.
waiting. Thank you, sir.
May I
Yes,
have a
madam.
It
question?
wasn't as pronounced, if I might, it wasn't as pronounced as until just recently when I think all the revenues started to.
Well, since we've been here now, Board
18
Member
years.
Galvin, for 18 years, since it's become more pronounced.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Wow, 18. I have a question, Mr. Attorney.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
So what state statute speaks to how the use of CRA funding? Could you tell me what
It's-
section,
It's
please?
all encompassed in Part 3 of Chapter 163, Florida statutes.
163 point what?
Well, 163, I think it starts 163 point, what is it? Let me look and I can tell you, because it goes through. But the statute that tells you what you can spend your money on is basically 163.370 and 163.387. But the statute starts, because I was looking at it this morning with, it starts at section 163.330, and it ends at 163.430. Excuse me, .463.
If I may, so 163.370 gives you the powers of the CRA. It tells you what the CRA is able to do. In 387, so 163.387 gives you the governance over the redevelopment trust fund, how that is operated. So the TIF that's generated by the CRA goes into that trust fund. So the redevelopment trust fund is where everything is held. And so this is the guiding statute as to how those monies can be distributed.
Okay. So I heard mention about police. In what instance can the CRA pay for police?
So the CRA is allowed to do what's called community policing innovations, and that is, it has to be an innovation, right? Innovation means something new, and once it's new, that's something that the CRA can consider. However, once it's no longer new, it's no longer an innovation, it no longer is within the guidelines of the CRA. I will let you know that the CRA is considering has met with the North Miami PD and has been put forth a proposal for something that the CRA does consider to be a policing.
I'm lost.
No.
Oh, okay.
To be clear, no decisions have been made. They just made a presentation to the CRA to introduce an idea.
Who made what?
The North Miami PD met with the CRA just to give them a
For what?
presentation. No,
Oh,
to
they
just
met-
introduce something.
No,
to them. Yeah.
Miss Emmanuel, my job here is to ask questions. I just heard of something I don't know about, so I am trying to get to the bottom of
Right.
it. Why is the PD, was there a request? Why is the PD making a presentation? That's what I'm just trying to.
No, I think they were just introducing a new concept, so they wanted to just introduce it to the CRA and to get their take on it. Nothing has been decided. I simply looked at the information. It's something that I will discuss with each board member and brief everyone on. However, it is just it's information that was presented to me, and this literally just happened. It's not something that I've been sitting on. It's been a recent occurrence.
If I may add, historically, the
segues.
police innovations that have been funded by the CRA were ideas presented by the police department, like license plate readers, and when we had the police with the
Segway.
the chariot, the three-wheeler, and all that stuff, those were ideas that they brought forward, and the chief did ask if he could, and I said, yes, he can go ahead and talk, because under police innovations,
That's
if
what
you
the CRA can pay
can,
for.
and it's a function of technology and things like that. It's not a function of bodies. It's a function of more cameras or license plate readers
Equipment.
and education and things like that. that I think they were talking about.
Yes,
Yes, and-
equipment, not salaries. So salaries would not be considered innovation,
But there's
right?
so much money out there for equipment from the Biden administration. I was hearing that. Are we applying for those?
Yes, sir. On the
With
city
LSI.
side, we are applying.
No, we are.
However-
Becca's
But I think we're digressing from,
Yes.
Yeah.
so just
My
to bring us
point- my-
back.
Right, so the point of my question is, we can get to the details in another meeting. The point of my question is just to try to understand what dollars, because in the past, we've been advised that the CRA cannot pay for city things. I'll leave it there and you can fill in the
Correct.
blanks. But I know that there are exceptions. I know that the police,
Staff,
So-
the innovative police is an exception. And
Correct.
what are the other things that the CRA is allowed to pay on the city side?
The personnel that you guys utilize.
So our shared services is something that we do pay for, but there's an interlocal agreement that we do then enter into to pay for those services. So if we're using city staff and city departments for the CRA's administration, then we do enter into that interlocal agreement like we did this year for those shared services
So for administrative services,
that the CRA
we
is going to be
use
using.
as
It's-
Right.
It's paid for
so
services.
for innovative
Right.
police, are there a listing of other things that is
It's
allowable
not-
for
We're
the
not-
city?
So just to get to the question, and the executive director and I are actually looking at the community policing innovations this morning and the position of the Florida Redevelopment Association. And I've been through this with the city manager when she was the executive director and other CRAs. It's policing innovations that are not your daily things. It's things that are more intensive and different than just, patrols or buying police cars or just regular
We
equipment.
got you.
Correct.
So it's something above and beyond because you have a crime problem within this
Got it.
area of the CRA. In general, though, if you're asking like what the CRA could pay for, there's many things, many projects. When we were talking about the P3 project for the downtown, the CRA was going to be involved and fund certain aspects of that.
Right, and so
So-
that's because it was not in our books and we were getting ready to do it and it's in the
Right,
CRA
so if
area.
it's in
Right.
if it's in our plan as a project, a capital project, the CRA could assist with that as well.
To a certain
So-
extent. For instance, we can't build a city hall, we can't build the administrative buildings,
Building.
however, we can do the downtown parking garage, things of that nature. The statute really itemizes and goes through certain
What you
things
can and can't
and
do.
outlines what we are able to do. Can't build schools, but you can improve a park. You can't, it's just very particular as to what you can and can't do.
In addition to that, it's very clear that the CRA cannot supplant or cover the city's general fund budget,
Correct.
which is where we are now.
So
However,
the
now
CRA,
that,
right, so it is clear that cannot happen, correct?
not
Correct.
that the CRA, but now that we're in the middle of opening the interlocal agreement, yes, we can, because we are doing it as a funder between the county, a three-party agreement between the county, the city, and the CRA.
One
And that's
second.
where we are now.
So how is it, so who, is it a state statute that we cannot use the funding? Or was it the interlocal agreement that said that we couldn't use the funding to plug in
Supplement general.
the budget?
The state
The
statute.
state statute.
I mean, I
Statute.
can,
So
I can
if-
read
so if
you,
we're
I can read you
negotiating-
the prohibition right here. It basically says the general government operating expenses unrelated to the planning and carrying out of a community redevelopment
What
plan.
section are you reading, I'm sorry?
That is 163, 370, subsection, it's very small here, 3C. General government, so there's three things that are basically called out in the statute that cannot be paid for or financed by tax increment revenues. One, as the executive director mentioned, is construction or expansion of administrative buildings for public bodies or police and fire buildings, unless each taxing authority agrees to such method of financing for the construction. Second is installation, construction, repair, alteration of publicly owned capital improvement projects if they were in your CIP within the last 3 years. In other words, you can't have something in your CIP and then turn around and say, oh, well, we want the CRA to fund that. It has to be out of your plan for 3 years before the CRA can be looked as a funding source
Out of your city's
Correct.
plan.
out of your city CIP. Yeah, we don't have a CIP. And then the last one, of course, is this general government operating expenses unrelated to the planning and carrying out of a community redevelopment plan.
So what it means is, to be clear, is I cannot ask the CRA to take the money out of their budget to give it to the city to cover it. However, as we are reopening the interlocal agreement and discussing percentages of investments between the county, the city, and into the CRA, the city can ask to have to contribute less than the 95%, or, like I've said also, is reduction of the boundaries, because this is the only city in the state of Florida where 60% of it's covered by the CRA. So this is the only opportunity that the city has to make its case, to ask to give less to the CRA, because they're gonna be getting some money from the county to make up the difference. And this will help our general fund and not have to be in any issues moving forward, because now we're stabilizing our recurring revenue.
Mr.
I have two
Chairman,
more
Yes.
slides, but
Yes.
May I?
Oh, maybe
Yeah,
let her
she,
finish her
go ahead, you'll be right after,
Does
Councilman.
that answer your question, Madam Vice Chair? For the most part? Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me ask, Mr. Anthony, is that this item, is it a continuation of our discussion over at the Scott Galvin Center?
Generally, yes.
Yeah,
I mean-
because I feel like we're all over the place. Can we
We
just go back in center? Because at the Scott
Yes.
Galvin Center, we left
That's
at a
true.
25%, that way. So can we go back there and then see if we can move forward? Because like we're all over the place. We're not moving at all, because the bulk of the work, we did it over at the Scott Galvin Center. We're closer and closer to move and have an agreement. So it's like we're moving,
Well,
get back to square one.
On that note, and I'm glad you, that came up, because I totally, between the three parties and I as the chair, Mr. Commissioner, I have been diligently working with Annabelle Rasha, and it was my intention that, because I can't communicate with you guys regarding that, so their job is to, whatever that we agreed. I'm still under the impression, I thought we had something, a number that's out there, which I presented to the county. And they seems to be, they seems to request for some stuff. And I think I mentioned that to you. I have not seen those things so that we could send it to them in terms, so I'm under the impression that we, as the board, meaning that once I communicate with the executive director to do the due diligence, to let you and the manager, you guys know. So I don't know who knows what. In terms
So
after we left. Yes, go ahead.
the last bit
Right,
was
yeah.
at 25% in 24-25, 25% going, okay, to be clear, 25% of the CRA TIF to be refunded to the North Miami, City of North Miami in 24-25. In 25-26, 25% again. In 26-27, we would increase that to 30%. That was the last.
Yeah, but you and I, in between those conversations, we had, that's where I am with your concern. We had two negotiation in terms of either those numbers, we didn't know if that number hurt the city, the 25%. And you said you couldn't know that either because we didn't have the final number from the county. So it's been back and forth, and I'm a little bit up here too, Councilman Charles, and it's frustrating because we don't know where we are. We had one negotiation. I'm assuming board members would know we're all moving one thing. Businesses are waiting, and residents in this. So I thought, do the members here are on the same page as I am, or do I have information that they don't know in terms of what we talked about, the CRA, the keeping of the Biscayne, that part that would have made the contract much more easier because of the mess up that we had from the county negotiating. Yes.
The alternative to the last refund conversation regarding the CRA and the city was 25%, 25%, and then 30% going.
No.
But I'm gonna tell you, hold on. And then as an alternative to that progressive refund would be no longer keeping any of the Sola Mia TIF. So what that looks like, what was framed by the city manager was to remove it from the boundaries, rather than doing that, because that would mean the new finding of necessity, it would mean just refunding 100% of the solar meter
Let-
TIF.
East of Biscayne.
Yes,
Of
but
Biscayne, and then keeping 95% of the west side totally for, and that there would no longer be a formula to deal with. That would be what it would be. So that's the alternative to the 25, 25, and 30.
however, just clarification, she didn't have anything to do with that. I called you and we talked about it. Then I called her. I have not spoken to her. I didn't even know those numbers came into in terms
Identify
of.
her?
I'm sorry, the city manager. I'm sorry.
That's cool.
Thank you
It's
so
okay.
much.
Okay.
It's a lot of.
Yeah,
Thank
people
you
are-
so very much. Appreciate that. So, from what we and Ms. Brown, you may come up here too. You may have to come up here and testify. So those conversations, when I have them, I try to have at least one more person in there with me. So I have not had a conversation without either Ms. Brown, even when it's with the county, with the commissioner, with Daniela Living Carver. Ms. Brown has been privy to it, and even when we meeting or Rasha's meeting. So because I don't like the back and forth, we are in one team. I understand legally we are a different entity, but what's happening tonight, we need to be on Team North Miami, because the county is saying to us, okay, you got that, we understand we've been unfair, we need to get our act together. And the fact that he doesn't know, and I don't really know where we are, because I thought we all kind of knew those conversations that we've been having in terms of
Could we ask her to finish her presentation
Yes.
and make her request so that we know?
So,
If I
But
may,
he has a
I
question. Go
just
ahead.
need to add something to it.
Go ahead,
Because
Councilman.
we can be here all night going around, but
Yeah,
my
7
point is that from that meeting, we agreed on the 25, 30, and the 5 million, which I don't hear anybody talking about that 5 million for the Scott Galvin Center.
That's
a
an
given.
That was-
It's a given.
It's a given.
The 5 million for the Scott Galvin Center is
Yeah,
a given, no
it's a
matter what the
given.
percentage
Yeah,
is. Like,
exactly.
that is a given, that's always been agreed to.
Here is my thing tonight, and I'm not really happy with this thing. And I understand my manager, but I'm trying to get, because I could just get up and because I don't have time for it. And I'm trying to really, everybody is busy. I am too. And I am a human being just like everybody else. You and I, we have been, and Ms. Brown, please come up here. We have been having these conversations. I thought that everybody here is on the point that
No,
We're aware, we just
We
need
are
to
aware,
decide.
right. We have to
aware.
discuss-
So-
Yeah, we're aware. It's just a matter
So,
of
Madam
a
Manager-
discussion. Can she finish?
please
sorry,
finish, 'cause
let me just, I'm trying to wrap it up and bring us back to where we are.
Yes.
We've had, apart from our city retreat and your CRA workshop,
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
apart from the city retreat that we had and your CRA workshop, I remember clearly you had asked for a joint meeting. Remember, we had this whole conversation. This is our first joint city CRA conversation on this. We've had individual meetings with everybody.
And we had this
But this is the
workshop.
first time we're actually having the conversation with the CRA and the city at the table with you as a governing body, so you can give your directive. So that's what I need from you all, and I need you to understand. I'm always refreshing your mind as to the city's needs, of course. But ultimately, that was a directive that I had gotten to get a joint meeting together, and this is it. Now, I wanted to present it
thought
at
it
the
was a
CRA
workshop.
workshop, but unfortunately, I was not able to do it. That's why I wanted to do it here.
What do you mean, you didn't present it at the Scott Galvin Center, we had the workshop? I thought
The
that's what-
city,
That's what I-
city
that's-
retreat,
that was
not, I was not part of your CRA workshop.
You were there.
So-
at the
No, I
Scott
was
Galvin-
there, but I did not present.
Not present.
let me question.
It
yes.
was just
Yeah, yeah.
Kevin and Annabelle.
Question, I just want to clarify that too. Madam Commissioner, I was under the same impression, and I got upset also because I thought that
We
when
left with
Rasha
our
was
marching
there,
orders, 75,
that's what I
25,
thought.
we left and we
that-
called it a day.
So, and so do you understand, there's a lot of
hear
back and
what-
forth with the
I
frustration.
hear what you're going, but my
Yes.
thing is, right now, we're here, we're having the joint meeting. You
Right.
have the 25, 25, 30. Is there
It
another
was
alternative that you're trying?
That's the problem, because from that meeting after we left, Ms. Annabelle Emmanuel and I have been talking where the 25-30 was not even part of the plan. So the past 2 weeks, I went down to the county under the impression that we all were aware
Of what you're requesting?
of what we had. Her and I were on the phone when we made that
So
request.
what,
So
so what
what
do
is
you
that?
think,
The
right?
request was, and I asked Ms. Emmanuel before, I said, before I went to the county, if we eliminate, because that was part of the conversation from early on, which I know the county mayor, the last county mayor did not want to have, and I'm not a professional, so I'm relying on them giving me the information. I said, if we eliminate the east side,
The CRA
meaning that the
formula,
CRA
the
will
solar
keep the east side, and then the CRA will keep all of the west side, and the city and the county would negotiate the west side, the east side of the city. Would that work, that formula? Because that's simple, that we're not getting into the
So just
percentage.
removing this, the Solomia formula, is that?
That's-
East of Biscayne, yes, from the.
Because-
I know we had that conversation, so is this the conversation where, I think either way, we said, if you can clarify, either way
Clarify,
you said
please.
you were okay.
That is why I'm presenting the two options. That's why I'm trying to be clear and make sure that everything is out.
The-
25, 20, well, we got the
Can-
25,
I
25,
got
30, I
you.
think everybody has that. But the second
Alright.
option is what? Removing the Solomia formula and then you guys keeping all of,
I want to be accurate in the language. We're not going to remove it from the boundaries because that would require
was about
a
to
new
say
finding
that.
of necessity. What we would do is refund 100% of east of Biscayne over to the city and keep what is west of Biscayne, the 95% for the CRA. In making that analysis, using the numbers we have today,
Today.
that
So the-
number, that is going to be cheaper for the CRA than giving 30% of its TIF.
so you rather that option, is what you're saying?
That would be.
That is a board decision for the board to
Yes.
vote on.
Right, so-
But you're okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
you're-
allowed your opinion because we are asking you.
You're allowed to give your opinion to say that if
Absolutely.
you're okay with it, if this
Because
is not gonna hurt the
we don't
CRA.
No,
know.
no, wait, I don't even understand the option yet. So there's a 25, 25, 30, and then there's another option of taking away the east side and just us keeping 100% the west side.
Can you put the map?
Is that what I'm hearing? What is the second option?
That is,
Dunya, can you put up the map, please?
that is a second option, but I want to word it in a very particular way so that we are very accurate in our speech. We're not going to remove anything from our boundaries because we're not going to go through the process of doing a finding of necessities.
that.
So we're not removing anything. We're going to refund 100% of the TIF generated by the east side of Biscayne. We will keep 95% of the TIF generated from the west side of Biscayne. And if we do that analysis and we compare both options, refunding 100% of east side of Biscayne is cheaper for the CRA than giving 30% of its TIF.
So you good with that?
You good
Okay.
with that?
Yes.
Amen. Now, Madam Manager, now there's more because now it's all on you. Now, you got to make sure, and I'm saying this publicly, that you get the best that we can for the city. If this is the deal, because that's what I told them, and they said they're okay,
So-
that we need to give them
So to be
before we start
To be
conversation.
clear,
But
again,
finish.
like we just said, property appraiser just sent us the numbers for Solemia. So the back of
Today.
the napkin analysis that she just made is good for the CRA, but may not be fully good for the city.
But-
So if that is what you want to provide, that is what you
Right.
want to
Wait,
provide.
No.
And we will
Madam
still have a
Manager?
deficit that we will
Well,
have to work on
Well,
somehow.
that's the issue, because when I called you, and we were okay, you said to me that you would ensure, you would look at the numbers, you did not get it. I understand you got them tonight. The issue that I'm having now, which is with the city,
Mm-hmm.
what time did we get those numbers? I mean, that formula that you have, isn't it, you just plug it in the numbers and
No.
we
Unfortunately not. Okay, Solemia came into play in 2016.
No,
Right.
the question is, when did
I
you?
know.
Right.
We got it around 12 o'clock because I received it and I forwarded it to Annabelle. So I received it first and I gave it to Kevin and Annabelle. But what I'm explaining to you is this whole formula for Solemia just came about in 2016. I sent it to Kevin and I'm also analyzing, we have to look at the growth percentage over the number of years to see how it's going to evolve. I cannot do that, a back of the napkin assessment. And that's the reason why the CRA is saying it's cheaper and better for them. Because in the long run, they saw that it works for them, but I can't assert it. If that is the will of the
That
body,
is not
I will
what- that-
go
that-
with it.
Miss-
But I
Miss
cannot
Camo-
tell you, yes, it's the best for the city.
Well,
That's
this
my
is
only
the,
thing.
when can you do that? How long do you need to do that? Because when can you do that, ma'am?
If I get the numbers from Kevin, I can do it tomorrow.
Mr.
What
Crowder.
numbers do you need to get from
I need a
Kevin?
historical number from when we got,
Data.
when he started booking the Solemia numbers, which was in
So,
2016.
This presentation.
So, but again, if that is the will of the body,
We can't be the will
can
of the
do
body,
it.
Ms. Camo. It can't be the will
So-
of us.
But were you okay with the
No.
25, 25, 30?
Okay.
And CRA, are you okay with the 25, 25, 30?
No, but,
And the 5
please,
million.
again, this is math. We need to understand the comparison. One side is saying that, hey, she's okay. The other side is saying, oh, I still need to calculate it.
That's true.
At least we need to see both calculations so
numbers.
we can
That's
make
what-
a reasonable decision. I mean,
I agree. That-
But we,
that's what
honestly, we still won't know what
Until
those,
tomorrow, she said.
like, until tomorrow, but this is just the city and the CRA. We still have to factor in the county.
County.
And that may change the
no,
formula.
but the county, my understanding
county
is
is
waiting
waiting
on
for
us to get our,
yes, to
Yeah.
get our
together.
stuff together.
And
They
as
are
a
aware.
reminder, tonight is the last meeting for the CRA
That's what
board
we hear.
And you guys can
before
authorization.
September.
Yeah.
okay, so,
They can, if they just.
Can they do it? Can they do it on their own if they agree that they don't need the board? Can we give them?
no, I
No.
absolutely
I
want us to
don't-
be a
no, no.
part of the decision. I'm ready to call a special meeting for tomorrow. We have a workshop, whatever
You
we
would
can
need
do
a
in between.
minimum of 2 days, I believe.
Oh, 2 days?
Yeah, you can come.
Correct.
So what I'm saying is, at this point, you have to go back and analyze your numbers, and you can have a conversation with each of us individually and get direction from each person where they feel comfortable with the numbers and give you
Right.
our options. Either option A or option B, and you guys know how to move forward.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a meeting that we have to vote on. This is a
Right.
discussion,
Yeah, but
so
we-
you guys can continue the
We can't
discussion with
convey
us.
what each of you tell us to anybody else.
Yeah, exactly, but you'll know where the support is, I'm sure, after you've had your individual meetings.
If I may, if I may, I'll go back again to our last workshop. We're at a point that everybody was happy, and then we left the meeting with the 25, 25, 30.
No, it
Now,
was 25.
we have another formula that the CRA said it will be good, but the city said it would not be too good because we have to look at it both ways. We have to make sure that our city can keep going. And I had a conversation with our director, Ms. Emmanuel, told me that, and I'll say it doesn't make no sense for the CRA to have a ton of money and the city is in trouble. So meaning that she is someone who's thinking both ways. So we the commissioner in here, we need to sit down and see exactly what is going to help out and what is going to work. So from my understanding that east of Biscayne is not exactly going to help out the city. From looking at the scenario that is being presented to us. Now, my question is that, so that we can move, this is our last meeting, can we stick to the 25, 25, 30 so that we can move on instead of dragging this?
Well, we don't know if that.
Is that gonna work?
right, so,
That's more for
With the
council.
5 million.
The point is the city.
no, I'm not, I would like both professionals to be able to present their case, and then I would like for us, then, once we have the information, to make that. Now, is it possible, Madam City Manager, is it possible to have that number tonight? Why do we have to wait till tomorrow? Can somebody work it for you? And then once you have that number, we can take a recess from our city meeting, go into well, do we have
Go
to?
ahead,
No, I
Kevin.
think there's a
Okay,
number.
okay, let's go.
I've been typing numbers into Excel while you've been talking.
Thank you.
Between the 25, 25, 30, and the removing Solomia, or refunding all of Solomia, the difference is very small. When I start looking at, let me see which one this is. Okay, so removing Solomia, 24, 25 is the fiscal year I'll start with, not next, but we can bring it back to that. Removing Solomia, the amount that would go back to the city would be 3.89 million.
Oh, 3.89? What's-
3.89.
In 24, 25?
In 24, 25.
Okay.
yes. The amount under 25, 25, 30 that would go back to the city in that year is 3.63 million. So it's just a $200,000 or $300,000 difference. And that spreads out a little bit as you go forward with the projections.
To be clear, in 24, 25, though, it's only 25. Solomia only becomes a comparable option at 30%, which is in 26, 27, I believe.
Right, and so I can tell you in 26, 27, removing Solomia, the amount would be to the city would be 4.5 million.
Mhm.
No, that's a big
Under the-
difference.
I'm sorry,
And 30%.
that's backwards.
30%?
The
Sounds
amount
good.
to the city would be 4.3 million,
Okay.
the year that the 30% hits.
And what would be to
And what
the
is
county?
30%?
In the
We can't
30%,
talk about the county,
the
but they
amount
have to
would
discuss
be
theirs.
to the city 4.5 million.
That, okay, those two numbers, then it's not a big of a difference. It's just a clearer,
Let's go to 4 million.
Yeah.
so
What's the
that's-
long,
Solamia, in 26, 27, when the 30% would kick in, 30% would be 4.5 million from the CRA to the city.
Right.
Solamia would be 4.3 million. It's still less, but it's
yeah.
around the
It's
Yeah,
same.
exactly.
And based on growth rates, that would grow.
Yeah,
So in, say, 29-30, instead of being about a $200,000 spread, it would be about a $500,000 difference.
okay.
so,
Mhm.
so now I'm talking to you, Madam CRA.
Yes.
With that, you are still recommending to us, I know it's our choice, you would still recommend to us to refund 100% of Solomia and to keep 95% of the West Side? Is
Based
that,
on the numbers I have today, yes.
this is your comfort? Okay. Madam City
Now it's-
Yeah,
it's-
so Madam City Manager, the numbers that Kevin Crowder just read, that's comfortable for you, for your budget as you hear it now, correct?
It'll help the budget, yes.
Okay. So based on
That's all I
that,
can say. But for the record, again, east of Biscayne, I just want to make sure because Sans Souci is a little triangle in there. So I would like it to say east of Biscayne Boulevard and west of Biscayne, not Solemia and so on.
This
Okay.
table is built factory in east of Biscayne.
Yeah.
Okay. It's-
Okay.
it's-
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
okay,
We good?
so,
But are we
So-
saying which options we're going with?
right, so if
I
the
thought we just
board,
did.
no, we asked the questions and I
That
just
was
wanted it
good.
on the record.
Yes.
So let me just speak for myself. I am comfortable going in the way, in the direction that our CRA director has recommended, that we keep 95% and we refund the east side 100%. I'm comfortable
with that
moving
too.
in that direction.
That's why I
Is
am.
that what
We
you're
have-
recommending? Just want to make sure.
that-
And the 5 million.
Yeah, yes, and city manager wants me to again reiterate, it's all options include $5 million to the
Yes.
Scott
That's a
Kaufman
good one.
Center. I do not want to forget that.
All right, then move for approval.
Amen. But let me say
we
this
gotta
though.
select which option.
That is the option, but
That's the second option.
the second.
Oh, sorry,
But
we're up.
Madam Manager, we saying this, and I want to say publicly, she's okay. Now, if you run those numbers tomorrow, they doesn't work. We've done.
No,
you-
I understand that.
Okay.
I understand that.
I
I don't
think
have
we're
a
good.
problem, but I just want to make sure we're clear also. That doesn't mean I'm going to be able to wipe out all of
No,
the.
but
No,
no,
we are-
you're getting
We're
what
working
the city's
on-
getting. The
Yeah.
cities, it will be in a better position at
Yes,
this thing under this
than it is
administration
today.
under
Yes,
us.
most
That's all we
definitely.
wanted. But you say you haven't done your number sheet. Then if you done it, it looks horrible. We ain't got nothing to do with it. We did our thing. It was zero.
So we're
I
moving
just wanna
fine.
put that out there.
Option
Thank
B.
you.
So our directive is to go ahead and create that interlocal agreement with the second option moving forward, and that will come back to us in September. Is that my understanding? Or will you be working on that in the hiatus?
They're going to go to the county now.
Yes, we're going to present that to the county so that the county can then tell us what their portion is going to be. And
To
that way we
backfill
can
it.
go into a proper interlocal agreement with the county, the city, and the CRA.
Okay.
All right. And move for approval.
Well, just, well,
Second.
it's not on the agenda, so we really can't take action, but just, is there a consensus?
Yeah.
We just,
Right,
that's
we-
what we were trying to
Yes,
go
yes,
to.
yes,
to-
yes.
Right, that's all we need is a consensus.
Snatching victory from the
Yes.
jaws.
Yeah, there we go.
No,
Okay.
no, no.
Thank you so much.
You'll get a chance to
No
vote.
report here.
So we don't have to vote?
Attorney?
We don't have to vote on this?
They just need a
Okay.
direction.
Okay.
We got direction from
Thank
your,
you.
from the board.
Don't come
Thank
back
you,
asking
thank
for
you.
not a penny
And
more.
thank you, Miss Anna. No, Rasha now. Rasha don't come back for it. Not a penny more.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Ancillary
It's
discussions.
done.
Mr. Chairman.
Done. Yes,
And
ma'am.
if we got
Yes,
rid
sir.
of these pieces of
We got
plastic
reports
during
on
the
that.
break,
No report,
the whole building.
Kevin, Madam Secretary, any report?
No. Chair.
Mr. Attorney, any report?
Just want to wish you all a joyous and safe recess.
Same to you, sir. Madam Executive Director, I know you already have a lot of report. Any report? Enjoy your break and don't do anything I wouldn't do while we gone. That's not, there we go. Well, I don't-
Alrighty.
because
Move,
you look like
move
you
to,
start-
second.
You do it a lot.
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to adjourn, seconded by Vice Chair Estimate Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.